Senator Inhofe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would ask that you turn the maps over. This is just for reference. We put this together with the help of the military, with the help of some think tanks, and the colors represented there, the orange would be what is under ISO control right now. The gray would be the Kurdish control, and then the brown would be the ambitions of ISIL. Do you look at that map and find any problem with it, either one of you? It's
actually, Senator, in terms of their ambition, I think that's probably understating their ambition.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if left unaddressed, they would aspire to restore the ancient kingdom of Al-Sham, which includes the current state of Israel and runs all the way down to Kuwait. But that's
we're trying to be conservative on this, but let people know this is a big area and it's a major. Secretary Hagel, do you have a problem with this?
No, I think General Dempsey stated it exactly right.
Right. Okay. According to some of the reports, the U.S. intelligence agencies believe that ISIL does not represent the immediate threat to the United States. In fact, Daniel Benjamin, who was President Obama's top counterterrorism advisor during his first term, he said, and this is a quote, he said, members of the cabinet and top military officers all over the place describing the threat in lurid terms that are just not justified. I appreciate, Secretary Hagel, the statement that you made when you said that ISIS poses, quote, an imminent threat to every interest we have, whether it's in Iraq or any place else. Do you still agree with that statement?
I do.
And you, General Dempsey?
Yeah, I do, Senator.
You know, one of the things that I was glad to see is that the American people, there's been a wake-up call. Last week, there was a poll that was the CNN poll that 70% of the people in America believe it's a threat to our homeland. Then yesterday, another one came out. This was a Wall Street Journal poll. The same thing, 70% of the people. So I think that wake-up call has taken. Now, when President Obama, and this gets back to some of the statements you made in your opening remarks, he said, our objective is clear. We would degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL through a comprehensive and sustained counterterrorism strategy. Now, it's clear, and we've talked about this side. This is an army. And I outlined in my opening statement the 6 basic differences between al-Qaeda and what we're facing right now. Do you generally agree with that?
What I generally agree with, Senator, is that they have been using conventional tactics until such time as we applied air power, and that they're beginning to adapt now.
So now you don't agree that that strategy that we would impose against a terrorist, some group, is what is appropriate today with looking in terms of the giant army that we're facing?
No, I agree. We have to build the capability of the ISF and the PESH to address it conventionally while also including a counterterrorism component in our strategy. Okay.
Secretary Hagel, I'd like to get in the record here as to who's in charge of the war, because we hear people like Ambassador Beecroft in the State Department that saying that they are in a lot of the control. If it's CENTCOM Commander Austin, then I feel a lot better about it. Is that who's in control of this? Is now military?
Yes. As I said in my opening statement, Senator, I tried to frame some of that up in, for example, what I mentioned about General Allen's role, initial role as a coordinating role. But I also said that he would work directly in that coordination with General Austin as the CENTCOM commander. That's why President Obama will be with the CENTCOM commander in Tampa tomorrow to go over the plans.
Sure. Well, Mr. Secretary, my concern is I don't want people to be under the delusion that this is just another effort, another terrorist effort that we're going to be pursuing. Asked by a reporter on September 11th to define victory against ISIL, the White House press secretary said, I didn't bring my Webster's dictionary with me up here. Secretary Hagel, you didn't bring yours either. Can you define what victory looks like in the United States
when we
ISIL?
Well, I believe victory would be when we complete the mission of degrading and destroying, defeating ISIL, just as the President laid out. That was his objective.
Yeah, well, I understand that. That's not, I got a different interpretation when I listened to his speech, when he said on the fight against ISIL, quote, "It will not involve American combat troops fighting on the soil. American forces do not have a combat mission." In your opinion, let me ask you two questions, General Dempsey. In your opinion, are the pilots dropping bombs in Iraq, as they're now doing, a direct combat mission? And secondly, will U.S. forces be prepared to provide combat search and rescue if a pilot gets shot down? And will they put boots on the ground to make that rescue successful?
Yes, and yes.
Good. Well, I appreciate that. And then lastly, the last question I have, because I know I've gone beyond my time. We've been complaining about what's happened in the funding, and now we're looking at the sequestration and all of this. In light of all of this that's occurred since we originally started talking about the funding that would be necessary, do you think we're adequately funded now to take care of all these things that I stated in my opening statement and you have also agreed to? Where are we on our funding? Are we adequate?
Well, two answers to your question, but no is the first basic answer. But the budget that we will be coming up here presenting, as you know, in a few months, will contain what we believe is going to be required to carry forward for the longer term this effort. But in the short term, this is why we're asking for the $500 million authority for the train and equip. Plus, as you know, the